Okay, I am not sure when this will show me. I think it's already started streaming. I need to check, but in the meantime, while I check, let's talk about what we're doing for today. This is learning Japanese using AI, day number 8, and I'm not actually recording this because it says for OBS if you record it and stream at the same time, it's extra work on your computer. So I'm just going to try my best and hope that I set up everything correctly because I watched a YouTube tutorial literally right before this. I've done a stream before, but I will basically do this day as a test day. Like it's not a, I'll try not to think of it as a real stream, I suppose, even if it might be. Okay, so let's get started. For day 8, I'm going to do something different. Lately, my native source has been telling me that I really need to work on particles for Japanese joshi. So particles are like the things that go in between words, like boku wa, Scott desu. So wa is a particle, and then like no, like これは僕のマイク. So this is my mic. So no is another particle, and that is something my native source says that I'm like, if you can master that, then you're ahead of the game when it comes to like sounding natural in Japanese, because oftentimes even people who study Japanese for a very long time have a tendency to make mistakes with particles, even if they are like someone who can do everything else correctly. Particles is like difficult. So I'm going to see how ChatGPT can help me in terms of working on particles. And I'm also going to check real quick just to see that the sound on the stream is okay. So I'm going to be silent for a little bit. Okay, I think it sounds okay based on the 2 seconds I just listened to it. And I will just continue to move on from here as if everything is working smoothly. Okay, so let's get to it. ChatGPT, let's ask. Before we do that, actually, I want to work on kanji because kanji is something I feel like I want to do first since I have my phone set up like this and I don't want to keep it doing that for no reason and waste the batteries. So this is day 8. And I was practicing some stuff earlier. Not today, but yesterday. So let's move to doing some kanji stuff. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Hi, can you give me 4 kanji? I'm gonna do 4. 5 is a little bit too much. Can you give me 4 kanji to work on today? Okay, so we have body, C, T, and station. So the only one I know from here... Actually, no, I know I've seen this one, I've seen this one, and I've seen this one, and I've seen this one. Okay, I've seen all of them, but I don't really know them very well. So let's go ahead and go through them. This might be a quicker one. I might actually do a bit more, but let's actually keep track of time. So right now it's 7:30. So once it hits 7:50, I will move on to working on particles, which is the primary thing. And I'll work on that for about 40 minutes. So we have, they're still giving the radicals, but they're not giving like the second radical. That's something that has been an error since yesterday. I noticed it yesterday. So the person radical on the left side and then hon on the right side. That's hon, right? I'm pretty sure that's hon. Let's just type in hon real quick just to verify. Yeah. I never noticed that about body because this is the kanji for like karada, I believe. So let me make sure. Yeah. I never noticed that at all because I never paid attention to radicals or anything like that. Okay, let's write it down just a little bit. So this should be pretty easy to remember since it's two radicals that are very common. Or maybe not common, but at least easy to remember. Is it just me or is it a little blurry? Okay, it should be okay. And then hon. And that makes karada. Person, and book somehow makes body. I don't really understand that, but that's fine. Let's move on. I think I can pretty much remember it based on that alone. Next we have umi, which is sea and ocean. So this one I'm not sure of. ChatGPT seems to have it correct right here, so I'm just gonna believe ChatGPT right now. Sanzui, which is the water radical, indicates something related to water or liquids. Okay, that's an easy one. And then the rest of it I don't know, so this is when we do, or when we have Wanikani tell me what the other ones are. So here we have tsunami is what this one is according to Wanikani. It's the way to remember it. And then we have gun. And then we have window. So they treat this as a window. Interesting. What's the kanji for window? Like the actual kanji for window. Let's type it in real quick. Mado. Yeah, that's confusing. Okay, either way, I'm gonna just try to remember that this particle right here is what they call window. Okay, so let's write each of them down and try to get this memorized. Dash, dash, gun, and then window. And that is umi, which is the sea. I wonder if it's just lighting is the primary issue to why it's so blurry. Okay. Let's do it one more time without looking at anything else. Gun, and then no, that's not quite it. I have to pay attention to the lines, like the borders. So it goes past it in the middle like that. Okay. That's something to note. And then let's move on. So that's for umi. And then we have cha. One of the radicals is kusakan muri, grass something, grass radical, often associated with plants or nature. Okay. That's why I actually like the fact that ChatGPT tells you what the relationships are. Let me see if Wanikani does that. At least I feel like for this one, tsunami is related to water, so it makes sense. 3 drops happens to maximum number of drops, you end up having a devastating tsunami, too much water. So they do make the name of the radical related to the meaning of the radical, which is cool. What if I asked it, like for instance, what does this radical mean? See the crisscross pseudo-shaped big window you can look out of. It's not perfectly shaped like a rice field, it's more artistic. That's why it's a window, and this isn't. Okay. What does this radical mean? Okay, they actually have a meaning for this one. Nakare means do not or mother in certain contexts. It is an ancient character and isn't very commonly seen on its own, but it does appear as a component in other kanji. So it looks very much like mother, but without one of the lines in the middle. Okay, got it. Do not or mother. Yeah, I prefer knowing the meaning as well, not just like the name or how to remember it, which seems to be what Wanikani is focusing on. Is just like how to remember that radical versus the meaning behind the radical. But sometimes they do have the name related to the meaning. How about gun? Does this one have one? Yeah, this one just says stuff about that. What does this radical represent? Doesn't have a specific standalone meaning, but it is a component seen in various kanji characters. It's shape or stroke that commonly appears in the formation of other characters. It is sometimes referred to as a cliff radical. I prefer gun. Gun just seems easier as a name. Okay, let's keep going. We have... So that's umi. That's the breakdown of umi. And then the thing on the top is like the grass radical. And what's the rest? In the bottom it has like a hole, looks like. But let's X these out real quick and then go to the main page to look for cha. Alright, so we have it here. Flowers instead of grass. I mean, it's related, nature related. They call this a hat, and then this one as angel. Huh, interesting. Let's see what they say about these two radicals. And we'll also ask ChatGPT as well, since we are doing our best to learn through AI and not just other resources. Radical known as niño, or that. A variant of the person radical represents a person and is often associated with kanji that involves human actions, conditions, or relationships. And then they give examples like ima. Oh. That's cool. I like that meaning. Yeah, this one again just sort of helps you remember what this radical is. And then this one, first of all, there's a cross making in the middle, which is religion-based. Angel, wings, got it. Meaning of... is a katakana character and doesn't have meaning by itself, as it's part of phonetic writing system used in Japanese for foreign words. Yeah, so it is ho. Let me just confirm. So when it's in a kanji character as a radical, it still holds no meaning. It can still carry meaning, but it's no longer considered in the context of katakana. Instead, its appearance in kanji structures often represents different radicals or components with distinct meanings. So, I never really thought of it this way, but like, ChatGPT is saying like, oh, this character is similar to tree, which is true. There's kind of a missing link in the corners, but okay. That's fine. Okay, got it. Let's move forward. So that's cha. I'm going to write it a few times so that we have grass radical. The looks like a roof to me, but what did Wani Kani call it? Hat. Okay. They're calling it a hat radical. And it also involves like other people. And then we have ho. But this one seems to not have the hook. I think, yeah. I mean, Wani Kani also doesn't have the hook, so I gotta be careful of that. It's very symmetrical, so I'll just remember that for cha. So one more time, grass particle, hat particle, radical, and then ho for cha. Then we have umi, karada, and one more, eki. So I see eki a lot, but I've never written it before, so this is going to be my first time trying. There's a radical right there, which means horse, uma. Historically related to horses and transportation. Got it. I always thought this character was really cool. Like, I've played Chinese chess and this character was one of the pieces. I think it was written slightly differently though. But let's go ahead and see what the right side means with the help of Wani Kani again. So I'm sort of using like a combination of both Wani Kani and ChatGPT at the moment for this one. So here's station. We can look at... It doesn't have kanji composition right now, but they're calling it a shrimp. Oh, right here. What am I talking about? Radical combination. They call this the shrimp one. Little head. I guess I can sort of see it, but let's go ahead and ask for the meaning. Okay, the kanji shaku has the meaning of, okay, which is a traditional unit of measurement in Japan. Huh, okay. A traditional unit of measurement, about a foot. Corpse radical. I don't know if I fully believe this right here, but refers to the unit of length or measurement. Okay. It sort of makes sense. Horse and the measurement, like trains have to deal with distances and stuff like that. So, okay. Let's go back to, so station. How do we write this one? This one seems kind of difficult to write. I guess I just have to memorize it. Okay, that's the best I can do right now. I don't know if I did the right stroke order, but again, stroke order doesn't really matter too much to me at the moment. If I were to guess, it would be like that. Like what I'm doing right now. And then the shrimp radical, which means unit of measurement. Horse with unit of measurement. One more time for this one, just because it's so new to me. Okay, now for a quick test for everything. Let's just turn the page and write every single kanji that we just learned right now. Starting with the first one, karada, has the person radical as well as hon, the book radical, as karada or tai. And then the next one, which is, I always forget, like, immediately after learning which ones I just learned. Here's umi. It had this, the gun radical, I believe, and then the window radical, which had an outline like that. I think it was like that. And then the next one is, I don't remember what the third one was. Cha. There we go. Okay, grass radical. And then the hat radical. And then ho. And then we have the final one, which we just worked on. We can definitely remember that one. And then the shrimp radical. All right, those are the 4 kanji that we just learned. Let's do a quick check to make sure that we're actually writing them correctly. Okay, so we have this one correct. We have this one basically correct. It looks really ugly, but it's correct. Then we have T, and then we have station. All right, nice. We got all of them. Let's hope we can remember them for the future. I'm just gonna, for a quick review, we have 1 minute left. Just do a couple other ones from back then. That's bad. How did it go? There was like two of them like that. For narao. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Anyways, let's type it in right here real quick so that we can actually look like, or see how it actually looks like. So the line goes like this instead. Okay, that makes more sense. For narao. And then we have one of the earliest ones that we learned was oshiaru. And it came across, or we saw it again at some point. I believe that's it right there. Again, let's type it in. Yeah, that looks correct. We have to remember to actually include the hiragana as well. Okay, I think that's time right now. So it's 7:50. Let's move on to particles. So this one's going to be more interesting than kanji. I feel like kanji is pretty repetitive. You just keep doing the same thing and you'll eventually get it. So let's try and do particles. Hi. I feel like working on Japanese particles today. I want to try my best to learn when to use which ones. Can you help me with that? Okay, absolutely. Japanese particles can be tricky, but once you get the hang of them, they'll really improve your understanding of sentence structure. Let's break down some of the most common particles and how they are used. Okay, we have wa as the topic one. That's something. Okay, let's just read through it. Use when introducing or focusing on the subject of the sentence. It often contrasts with other elements. Then we have ga as subject marker. Marks the subject of a sentence, especially when emphasizing it or introducing new information. Neko ga imasu. Subject marker versus topic marker. Wa and ga are like confusing sometimes, so it's known to be confusing. Even for when I was in Japanese language school, they mentioned that it can be difficult to understand when to use which one in different contexts. So I'll definitely ask ChatGPT for more clarity. Use ga when emphasizing who or what is doing the action or when the subject is new to the conversation. Okay. O marks the object that the verb is acting upon. Hon o yomimasu. Use it to indicate the object of actions such as eating, drinking, reading, and so on. Ni, time, location, direction marker. Indicates location. Okay, got it. Same thing. Gakko ni ikimasu. Very simple examples. Used for specific times. Okay, directional particle indicates direction, similar to ni, but focuses on the direction rather than the destination. That's an interesting nuance. I never really paid attention to that. So focuses on the direction rather than the destination. Tokyo e ikimasu. I'm going to Tokyo. How does that focus on the direction rather than the destination? I don't fully understand that. I'll have to ask. Use when focusing on your heading, not necessarily the end point. Okay, that location means marker marks the place where an action happens or means by which something is done. Got it? All of these I've used, but on occasion I make mistakes on like which one to use at which time. So let's see if ChatGPT can help with that. But let's keep going. Kara indicates starting point and end point. Got it? To used for listing things or indicating with whom something is done. Tomodachi to ikimasu. Mo also to. Okay. I think mo is one of the easier ones, as well as to. Start by practicing making sentences. Okay. Now let's ask some tougher questions. How do you know when to use wa versus ga? Can you, oh crap, can you give examples? The distinction between wa and ga is one of the most important and tricky aspects of Japanese particles. Both are subject particles, but they serve different purposes. Here's how you can differentiate between them. Okay, topic, what the speaker is talking about, represents information that is either already known or the focus of the conversation. It often introduces the context of the sentence. Used to identify the subject of the sentence, especially when the subject is being newly introduced or emphasized. This is stuff they already mentioned. It often answers the question who or what did something. Okay, key differences and examples. Okay, good. Ga introduces, okay, dare ga kimasu ka? Who is coming? New information. Tanaka-san ga kimasu. Tanaka is coming. Introducing Tanaka as new information. Tanaka-san wa ashita kimasu. Tanaka is coming tomorrow. Tanaka is already known, and now we are talking about when Tanaka is coming. Okay. Emphasis on the subject. Ga emphasizes the subject, especially in situations where you're highlighting who or what is performing the action. Neko ga suki desu. I like cats. The emphasis is on the fact that you like cats, not something else. Neko wa suki desu ka? Do you like cats? The focus is on the topic cats as parts of the conversation. The thing about this, though, I feel like I've heard neko ga suki desu ka as well. And I gotta ask right away. So, can you say neko ga suki desu ka? Certainly, the sentence neko ga suki desu ka translates to do you like cat in English. This sentence uses ga to ask about the specific subject cats and is inquiring if the listener likes them. What's the difference if I say neko wa suki desu ka? Lies in the nuances between the particles, okay, which affects the meaning and context. Okay, this is for ga. The sentence emphasizes cats as a new piece of information. It focuses on whether the listener has a preference for cats in general. Then wa. The sentence presents cats as the topic of discussion. It suggests that the speaker might be contrasting cats with other animals or topics. The use of wa implies that the conversation may involve other subjects or alternatives, such as do you like cats or do you prefer dogs? Neko wa suki desu ka? So let me try to fully understand this. Okay, framing the conversation, potentially contrasting with others. Ga is more about introducing or emphasizing the specific subject, cats. Very subtle difference, and fully internalizing when to use what is very difficult. I can see why this is something that you have to like work on over time. So it seems ga has this theme of like you're introducing something new as well as emphasizing that thing specifically. And then wa is more of a general thing where you could be talking about other things as well. Interesting. Yeah, I remember in Japanese language school, we would have like tests for this. And those tests were kind of helpful because I feel like I always made mistakes on those tests when we had to fill in particles because they're so contextual. There were a few other questions I had as well. We'll look more into this. We'll actually ask ChatGPT to do a test on particles. I feel like that would be pretty useful. Can you give more examples for ni versus e? Oops. This is very confusing. This keyboard. Okay. Certainly, the particles ni and e both indicate direction and destination. 学校に行く indicates specific destination, focused on specific place of residence in Japan. 日本に住んでいます I mean, that makes sense. You would never say eh for that one. 3時に会いましょう。彼女に What's this? 手紙を書きました。I actually do know this one. 手紙. The recipient of the action is her. Indicating direction or goal. 学校へ行く. The direction of the movement is toward the school and not necessarily arriving. The specific destination is school. 日本へ旅行します. The direction of travel is towards Japan. I still don't fully understand. Like, it's not. I guess ni emphasizes the place, and then the direction is emphasized by et. I understand that, like, when you say that, I understand it, but like when put into practice, it's like, what really is the difference? Like, what are you implying? Yama e noborimasu. 彼へ手紙を送りました。I sent a letter to him. I didn't realize you can do that. Direction or goal. Focuses more on the act of moving towards something rather than arriving. When to use. Use e when emphasizing the direction of movement without focusing on the destination. Okay, so when I don't want to focus on the destination, I use e. But what does it mean to not focus on the destination? I'm slightly confused about what the direction of movement even means. Does that the location is not as important? Okay, so it's like the focus on the action rather than the destination. Okay. So I guess if you want to be looser and you want to say like, oh, I'm just going to go somewhere and you're not really like determined or like it's not like an appointment or something, I guess you can use e. And then if it's like ni, then it's more emphasized that you need to get there, I guess. You can think of e as saying, I'm going in the direction of school, and ni as saying, I'm going to arrive at. Okay. I can sort of get behind that explanation. It definitely makes it feel clearer. So let's keep going. Anyways, we don't need this anymore, so let's actually turn off my phone real quick so then the batteries won't be dying so fast. Okay. Let's just do a quick test. Can you test me on particles? Particles. Sure, here are some sentences with blanks where you can fill in the correct particle. Let's go ahead and do this. How many are there? 10? Okay. Are you a student? That one feels like it should be wa. I read a book. That one's obviously... Oh, crap. Wa and o are correct. 3. 明日友達に会います。I will meet my friend tomorrow. This one I feel like it can be ni, but I feel like it should be wa. Like it sounds more natural to say wa to me. Let's find out. For 昨日映画を見ました。昨日は映画 I also feel like it's wa as well. Sometimes I feel like for those ones, I just don't say a particle. And that feels more right. Sensei to. This is too easy. I think I need... Nihon. I want to go to Japan. Just do ni. 彼は猫 I'm gonna use ga. Oftentimes I see ski next to ga. So I'm just gonna use that. Soko, is it okay to go there? そこに行ってもいいですか? 午後3時に帰ります。母は Okay, let's just do that. Alright, right here is supposedly incorrect. Number 4 was 昨日 o. That's definitely wrong. It's not o. Yeah, there's no particle next to it, it seems. ChatGPT messed up here. Then wa is incorrect, and it says ni, but the particle was supposed to be after ashita. So these two are obviously incorrect from ChatGPT. That's kind of dumb. Like, it seems like a pretty simple error that could be fixed. Sensei to 話しています. Okay, ni is incorrect. The correct particle is e. I want to go to Japan. 日本へ行きたいです. I feel like ni can work. 彼は猫が好き. そこへ行ってもいいですか? Your answer ni is incorrect. It's e again. I'm gonna ask my native source about this because I feel like you can use ni and it's still correct. It's just a different nuance that's conveyed. And then we have ni and wa. Yeah, I feel like let's just ask for a harder test. And let's make it more specific. No, let's just ask for a harder test. You give me a bit more complex of a test. Okay, it's 10 questions again. Okay. I know this is blasphemy, but I'm just gonna do this in English because the keyboard makes it's just easier to type that way for this one. Okay. 彼女は毎朝コーヒーを飲みます. Still seems really easy. 昨日友達と電話しました. I feel like having the English there is not very effective. I need to get rid of it. 明日 会議があります。そしては、学校は8時に始まります。私は映画を見たいです。この店 This store has a lot. Why am I reading the English? この店は日本の食べ物がたくさんあります。Part of me feels like it could be there, but I'm just gonna put は。兄は東京に住んでいます。本を読むが好きです。毎日仕事5時まで働きます。毎日仕事は駅に行く I can't read that 漢字で友達に会いました。On the way to the station. I guess in this case it can be at. I believe you could use to for having a phone call with someone. 明日 Let's just look at the wrong answers. Okay, right here. を見たいです It should be が見たいです is according to them. And everything else seems to be correct. Yeah, once again, I'm going to ask my native source about some of these ones just because I feel like it could be either one in different contexts. Because I have said all before for like certain things, and I know it's not like a super hard rule that it always has to be got. I believe, I'm not sure, don't believe me, but I will ask. But overall, if this is like the best ChatGPT can do regarding particles, it's not very useful because in language school, even though I was just, in class for JLPT N5 level, N4 level, around there, I learned way more situations where like different particles were used. And maybe I'm just not maximizing what ChatGPT can do, but here, let's do this. Give me the hardest particle test you can come up with. Let's do it in sets of 5 questions. Test in 5. Think carefully about the context and nuances. Fill in the blanks with the appropriate particles. Okay, ジョギングを明日の会議は10時に私はこの本を or I guess in this case it's がこの本が見たいです読みたいです。And then 昨日友達と京都 What's this again? まで大阪京都から大阪まで新幹線で行きます。OK. Is that really the hardest? Okay, let's just do this in Japanese. O ni ga to kara. Right here, set 2. Yeah, this is way too simple. I did make mistakes, but again, I feel like they were things that could be interchangeable. And if this is like the hardest test that ChatGPT can come up with, it isn't quite complex enough to help you in different situations. Yeah, honestly, I just have to practice talking with my native source a lot to work on particles, because ChatGPT is pretty useless for it. I mean, if you're a brand new learner, then maybe it can help, but if you're trying to create more complex sentences, it's very, very, very beginnerish. Okay. Well, at least we learned that about ChatGPT. Yeah, I feel like learning particles is a very difficult thing, but the homework in Mina no Nihongo, this one right here, is very useful, and I will probably try to eventually get to it. Yeah, part of me is like wondering how useful some of this is. I'm going to be doing, 22 more days, and I feel like I need to start optimizing it, because right now I'm a little slow in terms of like learning things in general, because like this session for sure was kind of a waste of time. The only thing I learned was that ChatGPT isn't very good at teaching you particles, but I didn't really learn too much about particles. Nothing that I like, nothing new, I guess. Maybe like and ni, like the nuances between those two a little bit, but again, like I feel like oftentimes they're pretty interchangeable. So, and I learned in language school, like I remember the sensei oftentimes saying like, oh yeah, you can use either one, but during certain tests for certain sentences, like you should use this one specifically, because that's just how the test is. But in conversation, you can use either one. So I do remember the sensei saying stuff like that sometimes. And for me personally, conversation is very like the top thing, like the most important thing. And it looks like I froze. Okay. I figured out how to unfreeze myself yesterday. So let's see if it works. Anyways, this is pretty much the session. Yeah, I have unfrozen myself. Again, I have no clue what just happened, but at least I know how to undo it. Okay. We're done with day 8. Tomorrow we'll get back to the normal schedule. Conversation and reading was done yesterday. I haven't done grammar, and there was one more thing. It was grammar. Let me just look at the tab bar since my brain is a little tired. Grammar, kanji, reading, vocab. There you go, and vocab. So I think right now I'm learning that for ChatGPT, one of the better things it can do is help you with grammar and vocab. And I guess it can like give you kanji to work on, but if you have any sort of structure, external structure, you can just look at that list and learn from there instead. And the particles are all, or the radicals, if you want to learn them. I do feel like sometimes ChatGPT is pretty useful for telling you the meaning of the radicals, and I do think that helps. At least for me, it does. It feels like it helps. And Wanikani just gives you how to remember the radicals instead of the meaning sometimes. So that's one thing that ChatGPT does well on occasion. Sometimes it fails miserably. But for grammar so far, it's been pretty good in giving like example sentences for the grammar. So we gotta work on this according to ChatGPT's strengths at the moment. So kanji, I feel like we have the system down, and then grammar, we just got to keep doing it. And then vocab is simple enough. I use ChatGPT often actually in language school as my dictionary on occasion. Not all the time, but it was pretty good at defining things and clarifying things. So I think for vocab, it's pretty useful. For grammar and kanji, it seems like it can be useful most of the time. Sometimes it fails with the radicals, but for the most part, it's useful. So those are the 3 things we started with, and those seem pretty legit. For working on particles, not very much. For texting and grammar, not grammar, texting and reading, we still have to continue doing that. But overall, it does seem useful, so we'll keep going with it and keep continuing this challenge. But that's pretty much it for this one. One of the reasons why I am streaming, I honestly I'm not focused on the aspect of streaming, I guess. It's more so just so that I have it uploaded immediately and I don't have to worry about editing and all that stuff, because I've sort of made this a habit of just like recording myself doing this. So if I don't do this, if I don't record while learning, it's going to be very difficult for me to do it probably. I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. All I know is that when I study on my own, or when I tried to study on my own in Japan for language school, I failed quite miserably very often. So I would sometimes like buddy up with my friends and try to study with them, and I noticed I was better at it when I was with them. And talking out loud helps me with hashing out my ideas. So that's the reason why I'm recording it, and I think it's kind of fun to record it. So yeah, so streaming is just essentially me being like the most efficient I can be with getting it onto YouTube, like online, without me needing to worry about editing, without me needing to worry about like uploading it and titling it and all that stuff. It's the fastest direct way, even though it isn't exactly the most like digestible way for viewers if they want to watch it, because when I do film it and record it that way, I end up putting it in Premiere Pro and like cutting out a lot of the silences and stuff like that, which is actually really fast, but at the same time it still takes time, and it's like time I'd rather spend using on something else. So that's why I'm streaming it, and we'll see if streaming it ends up being like equal amounts of time, which it sort of is right now because I have to figure everything out, as a quick edit, then obviously I shouldn't do it because it's taking up too much time. But if I can make this as efficient as possible, as efficient as like me adding 1 minute just to like hit that stream button and just make sure that it's okay, do some quick checks, then we can continue doing it. But for the time being, I think everything went okay. I'll check it afterwards. If everything looks good, sounds good, then we'll just keep it up, just to do it for fun, just to do it out of habit and recording myself and make it the most efficient as possible. That's about it for this one. So we will catch you guys in the next, I was going to call it episode, but it's not really an episode, the next day for this challenge, day 9. Okay,